Hello, this is Precept Mars, and I would like to welcome you to my new segment, Deconstruction of the Deconstruction Zone. Today, the topic is slavery. So, we have here a video from Justin, Deconstruction Zone, and we're going to be talking about slavery. So, prior to me playing this video here, Wes Huff, as seen on the far left, just quoted a early Christian leader talking about how slavery was abhorrent to the gospel. And now we're going to see how Justin responds to this quote. Okay?
Great, yeah. Quote mining Christians that were against slavery is great. I could do that too. Pope Gregory, in a letter, says, if, however, you find them unwilling to change, meaning the people who are practicing heresies, if they're unwilling to change their ways, we desire you to arrest them with a fervent zeal. If they are slaves, chastise them with blows and torments and bring about their correction. If they are freemen, let them be led to penitence by strict confinement. And there are other
Okay, and so because this is a deconstruction of the deconstruction zone, let's maybe, I'm sure Justin, this is just an honest mistake, right? Because he seems like a really honest, charitable interlocutor. So I'm sure this is just an honest mistake. But I think we have a serious error here. Let's put some context to this quote. Okay, so this quote comes from Pope Gregory the Great. He was writing around 594 AD to a bishop named Felix in Sardinia. It sounds harsh, right? Blows and torments for slaves. Well, let's break it down. Gregory's not talking about slavery as a system here. He's addressing pagans in Sardinia who were refusing to convert to Christianity and sticking to idol worship. He tells Felix to crack down on them. If they're slaves, they can be physically disciplined. If they're free, they get prison time. Why the difference? Because in Roman law, slaves and free people had totally different legal statuses. Physical punishment was standard for slaves, like it or not. Does this mean Gregory supported slavery? Not exactly. He's working within the rules of his time, focusing on getting people to convert, not on whether slavery itself is good or bad. In other letters, like letter 149, he frees slaves owned by the church to serve as clerics. And in letter 9205, he chews out a bishop for mistreating slaves. So, Gregory's okay with freeing slaves and wants them to be treated humanely, but he doesn't challenge the system itself. His big goal? It's saving souls, not revolutionizing society. Context matters here. 6th century Rome wasn't ready for an abolitionist movement.
quotations. Basil talks about slavery and said, men are brought under the yoke of slavery either because they are captured in battle or else they sell themselves into slavery owing to poverty, as the Egyptians became the slaves of Pharaoh. Sometimes, by a wise and inscrutable providence, worthless children are commanded by their father to serve their more intelligent brothers and sisters. Any upright person investigating the circumstances would realize that such situations bring much benefit and are not a sentence of condemnation for those involved. It is better for a man who lacks intelligence and self-control to become another's possession. Governed by his master's intelligence, he will become like a chariot driven by a skilled horseman or a ship with a seasoned sailor at the tiller.
Okay, and now we have the quote from Basil, Saint Basil the Great, a 4th century bishop and theologian. This comes from one of his writings, likely a homily or letter, where he's explaining why slavery exists. Basil's saying people become slaves through war, poverty, or even family decisions. And he frames it as part of God's inscrutable providence. The kicker? He suggests that for some people, those lacking in intelligence and self control, being a slave might actually be better because they're guided by a wiser master. Like a chariot needs a driver. Whoa, that sounds like he's defending slavery, right? Well, hold on. Basil's not saying slavery is awesome or morally great. He's trying to make sense of a world where slavery is everywhere, using a theological lens. He believes everything happens under God's plan. So he's rationalizing why some end up enslaved. It's not a punishment, but a way to guide them. Modern readers might cringe, but in Basil's time, this was the way to explain suffering without questioning the whole system. Here's the flip side. Basil also taught that all humans are made in God's image, which means slaves and masters are spiritually equal. He built the Basiliad, a massive charity complex for the poor and vulnerable, including slaves. So, while he's not calling for abolition, he's pushing for compassion and dignity. Like Gregory, he's working within the limits of his world and his time and Roman law. So, should we take these quotes out of context?
Burdened again by the yoke of slavery, that we have been freed from.
That's the yoke of slavery to the law. He's lying to you. This is the problem, is they continually quote things out of context and they just lie to you.
Well, Justin doesn't think we should quote things out of context and lie to you. And I agree, Justin, we shouldn't do that. So why should we care about these 15,000-year-old quotes? Because they show how early Christians wrestled with tough moral issues in a world very different from ours. Gregory and Basil didn't have the social or political power to end slavery, but they planted seeds for change by emphasizing human dignity and charity. Those ideas helped shape later movements that did challenge slavery. When we read these quotes, we've got to see through their lens, not ours, to understand what they were really saying. If Justin's using these to spark a debate, that's awesome. It gets us thinking. But let's not oversimplify things, Justin. These saints weren't pro-slavery cheerleaders. They were navigating a messy reality with faith and pragmatism. So that's it for today. What do you guys think? Were Gregory and Basil complicit in slavery? Or were they doing the best they could in their time? I think we should be empathetic and consider their situation, their time, and what society was like then, and not judge them based on our modern biases. Well, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you want more videos on early Christianity or historical debates. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss on the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.